Yeah, welcome to NXL 360. Legendary Kolam Lambo is back. Former Orlando Pirates, AmaZulu, Chipa United, Yes Galaxy, Pittsburgh United. Hey, the teams are so many. And I think United FC in Cape Town, I'm not sure. Is United FC or Cape Town All Stars?
Cape Town All Stars.
Yeah, Cape Town All Stars. Hey, there are a lot of the teams we played. Hey, Kola, it's good to have you back. Obviously, you're part of the family of NXL 360. It's an interesting season because the league, it looks like it's taking a shape where it's going. Most people believe, obviously, that Orlando Pirates going to win the league. I spoke to Fanny Madita, the legendary, the highest top goal scorer in the history of the PSL. He said Orlando Pirates is going to win the league. I'm interested to know Kola's opinion because now with 10 matches or 9 matches to go, okay, eight matches to go until the end of the season. Now no one can write. We'll even touch who's the player that maybe can win the player of the season by the end of the show. Paul, how are you? What's your take on the PSL season so far? We saw your former team, Orlando Pirates. We thought they will win the league. And now, I don't know if they will win it, obvious, by drawing, but they're still leading the league, Paul. I'm sure. Surely Pirates are still going to win the league.
Yeah, hello to everyone. Hello, Nadim. It's been a while, man. It's nice to be back. Yeah, it's a very tough one. I mean, we've had viewers from all of the legends, people saying who's going to win and whatsoever. But, man, I still say the most difficult thing is finishing off the race because in marathon, it's not how you start it. The best way, it's how you actually finish it. At the end, that's where it gets tougher because you're playing against people that are fighting for their lives. You're playing against people that are fighting to be in the top 8. You're playing against people who are fighting to win the title. And consistency is the one that keeps people going. And Mamelodi Sundowns has shown us for several years. And I even said to so many people back then, I said, when Mamelodi Sundowns is not playing good and winning, you actually have to be scared. And it seems as if like now they've got their momentum of playing good and winning games, and they have all their best players back and fit. You know, Abotemba Zwane, they are back. Mudau, they are back, having consistent performances and all of those things. So it's not going to be easy for Orlando Pirates. For me, now it reminds me the season when I was at Orlando Pirates and we lost the league in the last game when we drew to Cape Town City. You know, I'm just hoping Oguti, things can be different. But if Orlando Pirates is not going to be consistent, because each and every game matters now. You know, if Mamelodi Sundowns win all their remaining games as it is, they are guaranteed to be the champions. Because Orlando Pirates, they've slipped up in dropping 2 points because those are 2 vital points. You know, when you are competing with Mamelodi Sundowns, you don't want to make a slip up because they are not looking to make any. You look at the game that they won against AmaZulu, where people were hoping and thinking, Oguti, they are going to draw the game. And then Allende came on as a sub and then scored the win at last minute. So they've been in these situations. So I think that's what's helping them to get through such moments.
Yeah, interesting tech. I agree with you. Against AmaZulu, it looks like they will go to AmaZulu and struggle and please get a draw, but they will get 3 points. And then against Skukune, it looked like Skukune will go there at Loftus and get a point. Sundowns got 3 points. And yeah,
And Nadine, we did
as a
speak
result,
about, man, we did speak about this Kukune the other time, and coaches Kukune saying the league is balanced. And I had an argument. I remember there was a person that I was having an argument with when they said to me, Mamelodi Sundowns, the team have caught up to them. I said in my response, Mamelodi Sundowns, I don't think the teams have caught up. At that moment, Mamelodi Sundowns had dropped the standard, you know. And Coach Eric Tinkler, I think he was the one that they quoted the most, saying, Guti, it's difficult for Mamelodi Sundowns and thing. But I said, it always has been difficult for Mamelodi Sundowns. They've been playing with teams, Abadlala low block, all along from the times they had Coach Pito, but they were managing to break them through and still, you know, be at the level that they were with the points. I mean, if you look at the points with Mamelodi Sundowns after 20 games, they were not what they are now. You know, so hence my argument when I was that of saying, no, I don't think the teams have caught up. Because if they had caught up, we would see the teams performing and having the same points that Mamelodi Sundowns had at their previous seasons. So for me, now that was my argument to say, I don't think the teams have caught up. It's just that Mamelodi Sundowns standard has dropped a bit in terms of their way they've been collecting points. Yes, we can argue and say They are collecting 2 points per match, but it's not enough because they are not used to that now. They are used to collecting 3 points every match. Hence, when their standard is lower, people feel as if like the other teams have caught up with them. But it's a story for another day, man.
Not really. I can't say it's a story for another day. It's a story for today. Actually, it's a valid point what you're saying. There's a guy called Constitutional First. He said the same thing, almost in line, that at this stage, Pirates have not improved. Pirates are in the same position they were last season. At this stage, last season, Pirates were on 46 points. Now they're on 48 points. If you say they've improved, they improved by 2 points. At this stage, Sundowns were in 58 points. So it means one thing. Sundowns, by throwing 5 matches and losing 2 arrows, they dropped a lot of points, and the other team have failed to capitalize on that. So the whole thing, for me, I'm one of them. I won't lie and act smart. I'm the one also who said Pirates have improved. But the minute I saw that tweet from Constitutional Press that no, Pirates have not improved under Owado. They're in the same position they were last season. So if they improved, rightfully so, as you are saying, Pirates were going to be on 58 points, where Sundowns were last season. We're going to say they've improved. But obviously, it looks like when Sundowns are not getting the same points they're used to, you can say the other teams have caught up. But no, I agree with you on that.
Yeah, no, it's a difficult one. Mena, I still stand in what I'm saying to say Mamelodi Sundowns did drop their ball a bit, which there was a lot of factors for me now when I sat back, and revisited what could have been the cause. One, they did not have a proper preseason. I think it was affected by the Club World Cup that they participated in. So it did not give them enough time to prepare and enough time for their players to rest because Sundowns, whether we like it or not, they are one of the teams in our country that plays more games than any other team. They are in all competitions that are to be played, for any PSL teams. They play CAF, they play the PSL trophies, MTN 8, they are there, Nedbank Cup, they are there, Black Label, they are there. So when they added Club World Cup, which was a factor, I don't blame them for dropping their standard as it is. It says their players were not fully recovered and the players that they integrated into the team were not even given enough time to gel with the team and to get with the functionalities of how Mamelodi Sundowns operate, how they play, the stresses that they go through all the processes and the trophies and the cup competitions that they partake in. Yeah, and that's why I still stand and say I don't think other teams have caught up. It's just that Mamelodi Sundowns' performances have been hampered by whatever that they were going through. I mean, each and every team is bound to have a slump. But Bona, they can point to the slump sabo, it's here because they did this, they could not do that, and whatsoever. So I'm not sure about other teams.
Yeah, and also in support to that, they didn't have a preseason. Lots of players wanted to leave at Sundowns, obviously, when the season started. One of them is Khuliso Mtau, Siwelele, Ribeiro. So they didn't start the season well. They lost
there was a lot.
Heavenly Tlaku, there were a lot of ups and downs. So one will say Sundowns, obviously, now they are picking up because they've added Brian Leon, who did so well, and all. So for me, it looks like Pirates have improved, whereas Sundowns didn't. Pirates are where they were last season. Sundowns are the one who didn't start well, but now they are correcting that by winning. If you look at in that color, they've won their last 7 matches in the league, which is really impressive. And they look like they might win up until the end of the season, as you said. If they win all their matches, there's no debate. The league is gone.
Yeah. So, and once you are competing for the league, Nadim, Mena, in my opinion, I think you don't want to wish other people that they can flop and whatsoever. It must always be in your hands, because that one, it's something that's within your control. So when you are hoping when Mamelodi Sundowns is going to play against Marumo Gallants, ngat draw and all of that, now you are putting your faith in other people's hands. It's no longer your own doing. Where else you have to control situations that you are able to deal with. I'm facing Siwelele. I must make sure that I'm coming out with 3 points. So that 2 points drop, I wonder how are they going to take it? And depending on tomorrow's results for Mamelodi Sundowns, because it can have a huge impact in the dressing room, while we are still motivated, preparing and saying we are on top of the table. When we flop and lose such critical points at this present moment and then Sundowns win, allegedly, if they do win tomorrow, it can have a huge impact in the players' confidence in competing with them, because all of those vital things they matter. At such stages, you don't need any distractions or the person that you are competing with. If I'm like a boxing match, if I'm fighting you and I'm throwing in the right punches, and when I don't, you lose confidence in whatever technique and practices that you were doing. But if you throw in the right punches, it becomes easier. You gain that confidence, you gain that momentum. You can even do things that you were not imagining yourself to be doing. So it's not going to be an easy finish. It's not over yet, because as it is on the log, Orlando Pirates are still leading. They are number one. They lead Mamelodi Sundowns with 1 point as they drew their previous game. But we are yet to see how tomorrow's results are for Mamelodi Sundowns.
Yeah, actually, let's go to that match call. I'm interested to know your opinion on Pirates versus Siwelele. Obviously, I'm one of them who predicted boldly that Pirates is going to win the game 2-0, simply because going into the match, Siwelele played 9 matches away, 10-10, and only 1 win, and they've scored 4 goals in 9 matches. So I thought they are just better away, and there were stories that they are using a car wherever there've been lots of factors why they are not doing well away. But against Orlando Pirates, Orlando Amstel Arena, is your former club stadium now is called, and they failed to collect 2 points. What do you think went wrong there? Because while we'll go back when Sundowns left the league in May and say that is where Pirates lost the league.
Yeah, Nadim. And for Mina, it was sad to see Orlando Pirates drop for the 2 crucial points. Because one, if we look at the history of the PSL, teams that are always playing games away, they don't have it in them to compete for titles. One being ETS Galaxy for me. They are training in Joburg. They are based in Joburg. We all know that. And they are playing their home games in Mbombela, which is an away for them. They have to travel and go play there. So even if they are playing against any opposition who's traveling there, they might know they feel better because they play their home game there. But it's an away game because they always have to travel maybe a day or 2 days before the game. It's the same thing as the Siwelele. They are still based in Johannesburg, and they always have to travel to go play Bloemfontein, which is a factor. So I think this game, it was a bit easier for Siwelele to be accommodative in terms of their preparations, because they are training in the previous Super Sport fields. They are still in Joburg. The game is in Orlando Amstel Arena. It's local for them. Orlando Pirates can look back and they can point fingers and blame and say Siwelele, yes, they disturbed. Ugos, their goalkeeper, was the man of the match at the end of the day. But Ugos is part of the team, Siwelele. He was doing his job. So if the strikers and the attackers were Pirates, also they were prepared to make sure and know the stage that they are. We are competing, and whatever comes our way, it's not going to be easy, but we're going to go all out. And I'm not saying this because I'm saying I'm writing Orlando Pirates out of the title race. No, they are still in it, because there's 10, 9, 8 games to go. Anything can still happen as long as they can switch on. But can you imagine if something that happened against Isiwelele happens again to them? It's where one would say inconsistency will give you the last stride, because when you run a marathon, it's not how you start with the sprint or aim. You just have to be consistent with your pace. You know what you want, you know what you do until the last end. So if you're going to sprint here and leg besabanye abantu, they go past you, the chances of you winning the race at the end are slim.
So what do you think went wrong in that game? I'm interested in that because as I'm talking to you now, I'm checking that the goals made 11 saves. It's the first time in the last 6 years or so a goalkeeper in the PSL make 11 saves in one game. What do you think went wrong for Pirates? Because one will say they created enough chances, but obvious me on my side already said I feel maybe Ndaba should have not played. Hoto was gonna give Pirates more power starting. Ndaba made the mistake in that goal, obvious, it's a fact. And then Butuma also, I also feel that maybe he should not be starting ahead of Mahopo in such crucial matches. Simply Pirates are out of the Nedbank Cup, are out of the Champions League. The only thing they need to play is to play the rest, the 9 matches that are remaining in the league. So what's your take on that? What do you think went wrong for Orlando Pirates in that game?
Yeah, Nadim, there's a lot of factors, and we can point fingers to any other players and saying Ndaba shouldn't have started. And it's just unfortunate how we sometimes review the game and the performances of teams. Because we are not there training, and which is something that I always say to people, Owoti. Probably we could be blaming Undaba, saying he made a mistake, but what if he was their best performer in preparation to this game? That's what led the coach believing and trusting him. And anyone can make a mistake at any given time. Like I say, Wuti, this season, the Orlando Pirates, it brings back flashbacks game when we lost when we lost the 2 points because we drew against Cape Town City. I don't forget that moment, because Opatosi was a nuisance in our ears. And when they equalized, it felt as if like the world ended. And I hope Undaba can take the mistake that he made and grow from it, not to allow it to suppress him. And then itati confidence yakhe is a pants. He must learn and improve and make sure he does better the next game because it's not over yet. They still have the time. Tena, for us at that game, it was, I think, 2 games to go. It was the last game. I remember Ben was talking about that. I can't hear you, Nadim Askis. I'm not sure what's happening with your speaker now.
No, I'm saying I remember very well. It was 2 games to go, right?
Yeah.
And then Chippa United played Cape Town City in Quebec. And then Penny McCarthy said, we know that Pirates, they need to beat us. And because if Pirates played Cape Town City and beat Cape Town City 3 points, then beat Polokwane and Polokwane as you guys did, you win the league. You didn't care what Sundowns do.
Right.
So Penny McCarthy said before the game, Pirates, they need to come to Cape Town and beat to us to win the league. They must come prepared because we're going to train hard and wait for them. And then, obviously, Pirates have not won the league, for a while then. That was 7 years. Then Penny McCarthy, you can see, for Penny McCarthy, it was like a final. He really wanted Pirates not to win the league. He did everything in his power. That's why I honestly think Penny McCarthy, I was telling David Kekana when he was still alive at the SAPC that I don't think Penny McCarthy will coach Pirates ever again because of that game. Because it looks like, the funny thing is that he threw with Pirates. After throwing with Pirates, the next match, he lost to Black Leopards. Eddie, he was just sitting on the bench, relaxed. The Pirates game, it was like a final. He just wanted, even when Craig Martin equalized that goal, Penny McCarthy jump and rush. It was like he really wanted Pirates not to win the league at all. I remember that one very well. So it's almost similar to this one.
Nadim, and what I always say, there's adrenaline when you are facing your previous employers, man. I don't know what motivates that or what encourages that, but I just hope and wish we go to the PSL, each and every player or the coach can play and attack each and every game the same way. Because one thing that I've loved from Coach Pizzo, when you've listened to many of his interviews, he mentioned that to say, to win the league, you don't have to beat Pirates, you don't have to beat Chiefs, or you don't have to beat Sundowns. You have to be consistent. You have to win all of those games. And that's how he used to win the leagues. He would draw against Chiefs or lose against Pirates but he would make sure that all these other coming small teams, he's going away with 3 points. So it's so sad when you see other people only motivated to play for that one game. Can you imagine what could happen in the PSL if all the teams are saying it's Polokwane City versus Siwelele? The motivation and the adrenaline it's the same as when they are playing against Kaizer Chiefs, Mamelodi Sundowns, or no, TS Galaxy playing against Sundowns. The motivation becomes higher. They want to beat Sundowns, and then they go and lose the next game. You then question yourself, Uti, what is it? The problem is it with us as Africans or as South Africans to say, once we beat one of the big teams, we are satisfied, we are done, Or is it a matter of saying we want to be consistent and compete at the same level that they are? Because either or, they might be playing in the big teams, they might be playing for the big branded names, but they are competing in the same league, competing in the same for the same titles. So why be motivated equally as when you are playing Mamelodi Sundowns, equally so when you are playing against Siwelele or when you are playing against Durban City? Then it would make our league even more profitable, more interesting, more competitive, which will improve and help our national team when they go and compete with other countries, But we're not here to discuss that. We are here to talk about the league title towards the end. So for me now, Pirates, I think they did all they could, and mistake can happen from anyone, whoever that they might have started. Sometimes even God works in his mysterious ways. Probably, let's say they started Uhoto over Ondaba. Maybe Uhoto concedes a penalty. Other people would have said, but they could have given Ondaba an opportunity instead of Uhoto, because, there could be so many factors that we are pointing to try and find excuses to say, oh, we did not win this game because of so and so, but it's not that. If that game was supposed to be won by Orlando Pirates would have won it. I mean, imagine so many saves that Ukos have made. But it seems like for me, and I'll always say where it went wrong, it's with Ukos for me. I don't want to pinpoint and point any other players with Pirates and say he made that mistake, he did what. If Orlando Pirates could have at least converted 2 more or 3 of the chances that they created, and Ukos did not save them, then we would be talking a different story. So we must just give kudos to Ukos for his wonderful performances. And I hope he continues those performances, because it's in preparation for the World Cup for him. He still needs to fight for a position to be selected and go and help South Africa. And him being at his best, it's going to push Uronwen as well to want to be at his best. So I think it's just unfortunate for Orlando Pirates. Ghost was on top of his game, whether we like it or not, because we cannot fault Orlando Pirates. They created the chances. They did what they could, what they wanted to do in scoring opportunities that they've created, but it was not meant to be.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. 11 shots on target, you can't really fault it. But what about the feeling that you must always play your best players? Because Pirates look more dangerous with Mahopa and Hoto playing than with, obviously, with Mbutuma and Ndaba. So you don't think there's something there at all?
Nadim, I'm going to go back to the previous games with Orlando Pirates until the last game that they lost against the Kasrik on penalties. They played and they were winning those games without Omakhopa. Yes, when they have Omakhopa, he gives them another different dimension. When they have Umbata, he gives them another different dimension. When they have Undaba, also he gives them something different. So they played and they won without those players until they lost to Ikasrik, and then we started hearing this and that, and then Umbata came back, which we knew and heard the coaches saying he was injured, when they went on to play against Kaizer Chiefs and they won 3. Umakhopa came in as a sub and it was already 2. He came on, he scored, it became 3. So we can argue and say Umakhopa was supposed to start that match and whatsoever. What if Makhopa started against Kaizer Chiefs and then Orlando Pirates did not win? Were we going to say, but they shouldn't have started Ngomakhopa, they should have just continued Ngombutum? It's just unfortunate, Ogote. We are not there when they are preparing. Unless if we can see the preparations and say,
So I will argue against that 10-10. I will argue against that and say Pirates have lost 3 games, right? They lost against Kukune. Mahopa didn't start. They lost against Marumo Gallants. Mahopa didn't start. They lost against Sundowns. Mahopa didn't play at all. I will argue 10-10 and say in every match that Mahopa is started, Pirates have won a game. They've not lost a game in all the matches this season. Unless someone come and give me a better statistics, I'll argue and tell you that the Pirates have lost 3 games in the league. In all these matches, Mahopa didn't start. If Mahopa start, players like Moremi, the one he performs better, Rile perform better, Apolis perform better, because it doesn't only score. Sometimes it drifts back and give the others a chance. I will argue strongly against that. That's why in every match that is started, Pirates look comfortable.
And I can agree and disagree with you. You have valid points. He was not there in those 3 games. They lost. Fair. But how many more games did they play without him and won? He did not start against Kaizer Chiefs.
So that means every time he plays the Pirates, that means no, there are games obviously like AmaZulu, Mahopa didn't start the game. Pirates would won without him.
With me, Nadim, and I hope people don't hear me wrong, but I don't believe in superstitions so much so I believe in preparations. And many are coaches that have coached me. I've learned that proper preparation prevents poor performances. So you don't know when is the day where you did not prepare well, where you're going to have a poor performance. And why I'm saying this, I'm going to go back to Kaizer Chiefs. When you look at the Kaizer Chiefs reviews or what their supporters had mostly been saying, they had that thing in them to say whenever Munyane is starting for Kaizer Chiefs, they don't lose a game. But we've experienced a different situation. He started when they were playing their last game with CAF, they lost. He started when they played against Orlando Pirates, they lost. And we can go back and revisit situations. Sometimes it happens, sometimes it does not happen. It's just unfortunate, Uguti, if something had already happened, we cannot revisit it and say, actually, let's replay this game and now take Mahopa and make him start and see if Orlando Pirates was going to win or not. Yes, they've dropped 2 points against Siwelele now, but they did not lose the game. It's just unfortunate that they lost 2 points, you know. So we will see
you know,
what.
1010, sorry to interrupt you. I've got an honest honest answer for you, 1010. Sorry to interrupt you. Remember when Real Madrid, the best team ever to play sports, the best team in any sports, won the Champions League 3 times in the row under Zidane. Do you know 1010 that they were using the same lineup? Same lineup. Navas, goalkeeper, centre back, Varane and Ramos, right back, Cavajan, left back, Marcelo. In the midfield, Modric, Toni Kroos, and Casemiro. And then they had Gareth Bale, Isco, and Cristiano Ronaldo. That's the team, basically. Same lineup. You can even check the previous final, same lineup, same lineup. Where is that coming from? Bale, I had Bale's interview, said that Madrid will not train that much, will just kick as long as physical fit. Zidane will just kick with them and tell them what to do. So Zidane's attitude was very clear. That's why Sebalos said, no matter how much hard you train at training, Zidane will not play you if you are not part of his team. If, let's say, Isco get injured, he will change the system to make sure that you don't play. He will rather play Bailey instead of you to replace Isco. So for me, it's like you must always, yes, at training, players can improve in training. What about the fact that we see in European football? I mean, Corner Lapocone Madrid was struggling to beat Atletico Madrid. They said halftime, the president of Madrid went to the team and tell the coach, play your best players every time. I don't care who's training well, but you must make sure your best players are always training. What about the fact that there are players that Mahopa is a Bafana player. One will say is a better player than Butum. What about that you must always play your best players available?
How many goals does Umahopa have this season?
5 goals.
How many goals does Umbutuma have this season?
Umbutuma, I think, has got 4. 4 in the league, yeah. 4.
They are not far off from each other, and which for Mena, I like such competition, and it goes with the preference of the coaches. Yes, we could be saying for us who are outside, Umahopa is a better striker than Umbutuma, but maybe to the coach's eyes, he'd say Umbutuma is a better player than Umahopa. That's why he starts with Umbutuma now. Or he could have said Umbutuma has been fit going into all of these games. Umahopa has been having niggling injuries, so he cannot risk. He's not sure. As much as he might be his best player, but he's not at his best. Like Ushuguti, if maybe Isco was injured at Madrid, they had to change the system. But it's different strokes for different folks. We are not working with Zidane here. We have to rely on the coach's tactics, what he believes on. So for me now, I'm going to argue and say the same, Nadim. In whatever that you are saying, you are correct. And there could be somebody else who have different factors and say there's so many games Real Madrid has played, and they played against Manchester City in the Champions League. The lineups have changed. And one would say the person who's been a nuisance in Pep Guardiola's team when he's facing Real Madrid, it's Rodrigo. He could have went not so long ago now to Real Madrid with the confidence and like a huge sigh of relief to saying Rodrigo just got injured. So a person who's stressing my team is not there. Who would have thought Ugutu Valverde would have scored those 3 goals? No one. I'm sure even the people that are betting, no one would have betted Valverde to score more than 2 goals against Man City, because we would have hoped and defensively, because we know it.
Yeah, 1010. I agree with you. No one will have predicted Valverde scoring 3 goals against Man City. It's not possible.
Yeah, so it happens. And it's just one of those days when things don't go as we know them to happen. We're going to look at factors that are affecting the performances or in. But no one came back and said, Orlando Pirates have won against Kaizer Chiefs and they won 3-0 convincingly. It could have been more. Could have been 4, it could have been 5 if they had converted those other chances that they created. But there was no one who came up and say, yeah, but that game we won 3-0. Kodwa bekuqale uMbuthuma. If bekuqale uMakgopa, the score could have been 10. No, everyone was happy and excited that Orlando Pirates has won. So it's just unfortunate ukuthi when the results are not what we are, players are going to be blamed and excuses are going to be brought forward with if this one could have started, but we are not sure. We are not fortune tellers. We can't see the future. We can't preempt and saying, "Hey, we know with Makalo Makgopa the team is gonna win." It can happen tomorrow. They start Umakgopa and the team loses. No one's gonna say, hey, Umakgopa, he's been starting and we've been winning. Maybe let's say it happens and he miss a clear goal scoring opportunity. They're gonna blame him and say, Umakgopa, if he converted that chance. And there's gonna be the other ones who is going to say, probably he would have scored because it does not miss those other chances. There were moments where Mbutuma has been celebrated about his calmness in the box, the goals he has been scoring. And he needs to be strong also when he listens to such critics. When people are saying Makgopa is a better striker than him, he must take that as motivation, and make sure that he pushes to the edge to get to the level where people cannot criticize him anymore.
Yeah, it's an interesting take. The debate will go on, but obviously, I think what works against Butuma is that every time Mahopa plays, Paris, Mahopa plays, Paris don't lose the game. But in Butuma, it looks like obviously they're not losing now, but they're dropping points. Like a draw is not good enough for Pirates and all those kind of things. Even against Patrick Stars, one would say Butuma, even that penalty missed against, because remember he missed the penalty, Butuma, in the Champions League against Lupopo. So it looks like, okay, why this guy is still there? Most fans are now questioning that maybe he doesn't deserve to play for Pirates. Obviously, he can still come back. We don't know. 10-10, let's move along to Amakhosi, the Kaizer Chiefs, the Glamour Boys, your former favorite team. What happened is that Amakhosi, 10-10, they went to FNB, played Durban City after losing 4 games in a row. That has never happened in the history of Kaizer Chiefs, where they lose 4 consecutive games. And one of them, obviously, was losing to Pirates 3-0, which was painful to Chiefs fans. Obviously, they were forgotten about that. It became worse when they went to Richards Bay. They lost 1-0 without having a shot on goal. I don't know. I've not seen Chiefs where they were totally dominated. They couldn't get a shot on goal. So, obviously, what to take about Kaizer Chiefs so far this season? And it looks like they want to finish in the Champions League. The sporting director, Mr. Kaizer Mtaungujuna, did explain that Chiefs' ambition is to finish in the Champions League space. Do you think that's possible? What will take about the game against the City?
Looking at the Kaizer Chiefs, it's very saddening because it's a team that I grew up supporting, man. And I always say I supported Kaizer Chiefs from a young boy, influenced by my mom, So looking at what's happening at Kaizer Chiefs, it's not exciting. It's not nice because when Kaizer Chiefs are performing at their best, the country becomes happy. It's one of the most supported teams in South Africa, most probably in Africa. They are amongst the most supported teams, in my opinion. So they nearly created a new record. If they had lost against Durban City, it would have been the first time Kaizer Chiefs losing 5 games consecutively. It would have been history in the making, and it was good to see them turning the table around. But I'm going to go back and say, Nadim, I think in previous episodes that we had, I've been consistent and I've been adamant with my statement of saying Kaizer Chiefs need to find a head coach. They seriously need to find somebody who's going to be responsible in like peddling their sheep forward, because this thing of co-coaching for me now, I'm still not for it. Truth be told, yes, they are in a better position than they were previously. And people can come and argue and say, yeah, they did not qualify for MTN 8. Now they are in a situation and a position. But Kaizer Chiefs is a big team. We shouldn't even be looking at those stats to say they did not qualify for top 8. It's not good for South African football.
Yeah. No, honestly speaking, I agree with you, 10-10. It's not good for South African football where a big team like Kaizer Chiefs struggling to even make the top 10, 8. And
Yeah.
Yeah, and you did say, I remember in January, you did say Kaizer Chiefs, obviously, we are not a fan of these core coaches. But the problem, when you say that, 10-10, Chiefs were winning. So it didn't make sense. Why are you against the core coaches? But now, you look like, okay, what? And when you said that the Chiefs were number 2 or number 1, they were doing well. So you're against the top coaches party. They are topping the log. They are winning. So what is the problem? Now it's very clear what is the problem. They are losing. It's very difficult for them. The coaching also. Hey, yeah, it looks like the guy, the Kaizer Chiefs coach, Cedric Katz, he went on to talk statistics without the team's management
Nadi.
approval.
Oh, okay.
Okay, 10-10. They won against Durban City. Obviously, it was a match needed to win. If you look 4 games without a victory, not actually without a victory, losing all those matches. So what was your take on that game against Durban City?
They have a huge number of support. So them winning, it's good. But like I always said, Mena, I'm not a fan of this co-coaching. I don't think it works well for Mena because who's going to take the credit? We are not sure whose philosophy they are following. When this one says this, maybe the other coach is not saying this, and they are both equals. And it's been said in so many stages that two bulls cannot rule in one crowd. There must always be one. You can at least have 2 assistant coaches who can, 2 heads are better than one, but not when it comes into piloting this ship. I don't think it goes well. Even the plane can have 2 pilots seated, but one needs to drive it. So we have to know who's in charge, whose philosophy they are following, who's backing, who's supporting. So when this co-coaching thing continue going, I don't think it's going to work well for Kaizer Chiefs. But looking at what they are trying to achieve, they still have a chance. I mean, the league is not what it used to be or what we know it to be. You look at the teams that are in the top 8 currently. I think TS Galaxy are number 8, if I'm not mistaken, and they haven't reached 30 points as yet. They are still on 25. And there's Polokwane City, they are number 7, they're on 29 points. So anything is possible. It takes me back to the previous season when Richards Bay was competing to survive relegation. Chigi Chigi, they won 2-3 games. They qualified for the top 8. So where Kaizer Chiefs is, and they have played lesser games than the teams that are on top of them. This win against Durban City was a huge boost for them. When they win their next match to equal the number of games as the teams that are ahead of them, being Abo, Skukune, AmaZulu. When it happens that they win their next game, they jump both those teams and they go into number 3, which warrants them the position where they want to finish at, being a continental finish for them, because they are out of the Nedbank Cup. There's no way that we can say they're going to win the Nedbank Cup and then go again and play a Confed. That hope has been squashed out because we know how they qualified for a Confed last season by winning the Nedbank Cup. So that opportunity is gone, done and dusted. They are out of the Nedbank Cup. So the only thing that is left for them is to finish third, because I don't see them finishing second.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I don't also see them finish second. But the mandate from the sporting director, Cedric Carter, is that Kaizer Chiefs must finish second in the Champions League. The coaches will be judged on that. I think it's going to be difficult for them to finish second. Yeah, it looks
Yeah,
like there's a problem there.
Yeah, for me now, it's going to be difficult for them to finish second, but there is a huge opportunity for them to finish third and reach their target.
Yeah, finishing third position for Kaizer Chiefs is possible because AmaZulu have played 2 games more than Kaizer Chiefs. So Kaizer Chiefs are still on 2 games behind AmaZulu. I think it's possible. I think it's impossible for them to finish number 2. I don't know why Kaizer Chiefs said they have to finish in the Champions League space. Maybe it's a way of getting rid to the coach. Why do you think the Kaizer Chiefs sporting director said their target is to finish position 2, even though the team was on 30 points, way behind the Orlando Pirates? I think was on 18, 17 points behind Pirates or Sundowns. Then you say you're going to finish number 2. Where is he going to get all these points come down to? Does he even
Yeah,
understand the number of points and the number of games that are remaining that now are left with 9 games? So if someone is 17 points ahead of you, there is no way 10-10 you can now overtake. So it means Pirates and Sundowns must now, one of them must lose most of their matches for Chiefs to finish in the top 2.
yeah, I think he was just being too ambitious for me to to give such a huge task to the co-coaches, But like we both are agreeing, Guti, they are in a position and they do have an opportunity where else they can finish third. Because they still have Orlando Pirates to play, they still have Mamelodi Sundowns to play. But for Mena, those are not easy games because most of the games Kaizer Chiefs is playing, they are not easy. Whether we like it or not, each and every team that plays against Kaizer Chiefs, the players get motivated because Kaizer Chiefs is one of the biggest teams we have in South African football. So players want to see themselves playing there. And when they're competing against the players that are playing there, they want to do good and do better so that they can be spotted and selected and signed to go and play for a Kaizer Chiefs. So asking the coaches to finish second, I think that's Mount Kilimanjaro for them to overcome. So they must, but which is good for me, Nafuti, listening to him saying that, because once you aim for the moon, you can fall back to the stars. Instead of them targeting to finish third and then they find themselves finishing fourth, fifth, or sixth, which does not warrant them that position of going to compete against in Africa. So maybe he did not want to say, we want to go play in Africa, whether it's Champions League, whether it's Confed, but him hoping that they push and finish for CAF. It's him saying, we might not reach that. Yes, it's possible because mathematically it's still reachable, but being human enough and realistic, I don't see it happening. So at least if they don't finish second, they can fall back and finish third, which still gives them an opportunity to say, okay, let's go compete again because we were knocked out. We Confed and on goal difference. It was so sad to see them being knocked out having 10 points and the other team that's qualifying has 10 points, So, and I think they started enjoying playing continental football because we know Kaizer Chiefs wasn't that fast in competing in Africa. They were not interested. So now it's good to see them having that edge, wanting to go and compete with other teams from other African brothers that we come across. So their results against Durban City, it was good for their motivational boost, for them to at least achieve their targets, but not the target that the sporting director is setting up. That one, I raise my hands and say, if Kaizer Chiefs finish second, I will kneel down and pray and say, co-coaching is working. They must continue with it.
Yeah, no, for me, I think they've improved it by being in the position where they are from last season because they didn't make the top 8. This season, they are almost certain that they will make the top 8. Obvious position two, the way I see it, is impossible. I don't know why you are saying that. Maybe Robert Marawa, because he said it on 94.7 on Robert Marawa's show, I think he was just saying to try to show the fans that they see the problems. They're also trying to do something to improve the team. I honestly think so. I don't think Kaizer Chiefs will finish in the top 2. It's impossible this season. I don't see Pirates and Sundowns losing so much games where Chiefs will have ground. Anyways, it doesn't even make sense because Chiefs is not like they will win their remaining 11 matches that are left. They are not gonna do that. They are not a team. Okay, they're led to 10 matches now, or 11 matches, yes. I don't think Chiefs, they will win their remaining matches, all of them. It's not an accident that at one point in time, they lost to Stellenbosch, then they lost to Richards Bay. They will play there and win. Even yesterday, one will say Durban City were unlucky not to equalize at the end. One will say Durban City had so many players suspended for Kaizer Chiefs. It was a weekend Durban City. There are those factors. So they are still going to play to Sundowns, go to Loftus, where it's very difficult to see how Chiefs can go to Loftus and beat Sundowns. It's possible, this football, obviously. I am not confident because Sundowns, if you look at them, 10-10, last season, they won every game at home. Actually, I think we must move to Sundowns because also they're in the league tie race. And tomorrow, obviously, they are playing against Marumo Colors. So Sundowns have won every game at home last season, 14 matches, because Royal Aim, obviously, there were problem with Mamkeys. And this season, they've won every game with exception of the 1-1 draw with Orlando Pirates. Where do you put Sundowns in the league? Do you think they are going to retain their league title? What's your take on Mamelodi Sundowns from what you've seen?
Giving the experience Mamelodi Sundowns has and looking at how they've been doing currently, it was interesting to watch Mamelodi Sundowns for me prior to their game against MC Alger. I saw Mamelodi Sundowns chopping and changing their lineups in the CAF Champions League and coming back in the PSL, and they still dominated and they won those games. It's rare to see Mamelodi Sundowns do that, you know. So it's scary at this time of the season having to see Mamelodi Sundowns. Sometimes they are resting their best players, like you say. Real Madrid has been saying you must always play your best players. You look at the situation when they played against Orbit College. You did not have your Mudiba on the starting lineup. You did not have your Tebogo Mokoena on the starting lineup. You did not have Abo Lieo on the starting lineup. So it leaves questions for so many teams to say, what's this Mamelodi Sundowns up to now? Because who's that boy also was not there, he was suspended in the middle. I don't know why his name keeps running away from me.
Yeah, Jaden Adams was
Oh,
suspended.
Adams.
Mkwena didn't start. Yeah, it's Jaden Adams, the one you mean.
You know,
But
yeah,
yeah, he was
they still
suspended.
dominated the game against the Orbit. And apparently they wanted that game to be postponed because they wanted to have enough time to prepare for the Champions League, but it did not happen. But they still won, and they won it convincingly. You know, so for me, when you have Mamelodi Sundowns in their momentum, like I said, when they started very, very slow. It's only now I'm seeing them getting into the next gear of having to be the best Mamelodi Sundowns that we've always seen and known it to be. So that Mamelodi Sundowns for me is the consistent Mamelodi Sundowns that you are talking about, to say they hardly lose matches at home. That exception for Orlando Pirates to draw against them, they were not at their best form. They were that struggling Mamelodi Sundowns, and yet they were playing at home. They still did not lose. So it raises eyebrows to say they are going to play against Marumo Gallants at home. Marumo that is struggling, that are sitting third from the bottom with the same number of points near Orbit. They are both on 18. It's just a matter of goal difference for them. Uguti Marumo is on top of Orbit because I think their goal difference is on 19 for Orbit and 12 for Marumo Gallants. So all of those things, they tell you a lot. If Marumo Gallants is going to perform a miracle, it would be kudos to Orlando Pirates. They are going to celebrate that. But I don't see that happening because for me, now, Mamelodi Sundowns machine is being oiled up now. You know, it's moving. And they're making sure with whoever that they're coming across, they're moving them out of their way. It started when everyone was hoping and expecting what they are going to drop points against AmaZulu, but they still went there. They came back with all 3 points. You know, they went to Orbit College. They came back with all 3 points. Now, Marumo Gallants, it's coming to them. What are we expecting? And they already have a 3-0 goal advantage for a CAF. So they are not worried to say, oh, we are not going to play our best players because we are focusing with the Champions League game that is coming. They can still play them, knowing very well what they are confidently ahead of their opposition that they are going to travel to. I don't see Marumo Gallants causing any upset. It's football, it can happen, but statistically and on paper and how Mamelodi Sundowns has been playing and how Marumo Gallants have been playing, I don't see happening. I'm seeing one team who is eager to saying this is our opportunity to retain our trophy. And they are going to face a team that's saying if we slip up, we are risking and increasing our opportunities of either going to play the playoffs or either being relegated.
Yeah, no, it doesn't look good for Marumo Gallants. In 11 matches away from home, they've only won 2 and then lost 7. There's nothing football-wise that can tell you that they can go to Mamelodi Sundowns and win. Let alone even getting a draw. I think that match Sundowns will definitely win. It's a matter of how many points are they going to win with it. For me, that's where I am. That's why I believe that Orlando Pirates one will go back. Pirates knew. I don't think I must try to be smart now, Tente. Pirates knew that they had to win all their last remaining matches. They didn't. Now it looked like Sundowns are holding the trophy with one hand because Sundowns, I don't think even now, I don't think they need to win every remaining matches. I think Pirates will still drop points the way I saw on Saturday against Marumo Gallants. I think teams will realize that if I can defend very well against Pirates, they won't have clear-cut shots. Then you have a chance against Buccaneers. But do you think Pirates Sundowns are winning the league, or you think Pirates realistically still have a chance?
Looking at the situation, in my opinion, I think it's for Mamelodi Sundowns to lose it because Orlando Pirates have already dropped the ball with throwing against Siwelele, you know? And why I'm saying that, you look at the opponents that both teams are facing. Mamelodi Sundowns doesn't drop points against Siwelele. Orlando Pirates drop points against Siwelele. It says to you, Mamelodi Sundowns is one edge ahead of Orlando Pirates, because Orlando Pirates collected all 3 points against Kaizer Chiefs. Sundowns did the same. So now Mamelodi Sundowns is playing against Marumo Gallants. Orlando Pirates dropped points against Marumo Gallants. So that's how I'm weighing my option to saying I'm seeing Mamelodi Sundowns retaining their trophy because they know and they've been in this situation and this state. They know what to do. They know how important it is not to drop points. You saw how it mattered when Allende scored that goal in the last dying minutes against AmaZulu. They know the stages that they are at. We have to. And it makes it even more difficult because Mamelodi Sundowns is a team that plays with having the ball. So it's not easy to hit a team when they have the ball because most teams are scared to go pound to pound with them. And that's when I think other teams have the opportunity when they are going to go pound to pound, because that's how TS Galaxy knocked them out of the Nedbank Cup. They went toe to toe. If they sat back and say, no, we will want to catch them on a counter, they were going to find themselves in a.
Yeah, no. It's very difficult. It's a well-known fact. I agree with you. It's very hard to go to Sundowns head to head. Even Pirates, I don't think they can do that. As a result, Sundowns have taken 4 points from Orlando Pirates this season, of which obviously it doesn't look good for the Buccaneers because for Pirates to win the league, they needed at least to deny Sundowns to go to them at FNB Stadium and collect those maximum points. So it's been a very, very interesting ride in the season. I'm not personally sure that Sundowns will drop more points now because looking at their home games, they are very, very strong at home. And also in the Champions League, I mean, well done to Mamelodi Sundowns. They played host to a team from Mali, Stade Malien. They went to Loftus 10-10, where Sundowns won 3-0 in the Champions League. I don't know, 10-10, if you're thinking about it. For me, I'm looking at it as if it looks like Sundowns can win the Champions League and win the league. Because the league, for me, I think they've one hand with it. The Champions League, what's your take on that? I'm sure you saw the game against Malian on Friday where the Sundowns won 3-0. Does it? And then we saw yesterday, I saw Al Ali drawing. I was watching the game on beIN Sport where Al lost to Esperance 1-0. Obvious, the goal was a penalty. And then we've got a team like Pyramids who drew. What's your take about this Champions League? How far this Mamelodi Sundowns they can go? Because we know that Sundowns have won the Champions League, obviously, under Peter Msimane. So it's been 10 years now since they last won it. Now they want it. I spoke to Steve Kombela, who told me very clear. It's not even a secret. They want the Champions League, Sundowns. They want to win it, obviously, because it's been eluding them. The management of Sundowns want to win the Champions League. What are their chances of them in the Champions League?
Yeah, at this present moment, they have an opportunity. They have an opportunity to go all the way to win it, but it's not gonna be easy. There's a person that I was having a conversation with, which I don't like to mention his name at this present moment. Prior to the Mamelodi Sundowns game against that team from Thingy, the one that they played up against and won 3-0, he said he's
From Mali.
yeah, from Mali. He said to me straight up, Sundowns is going to win this game, and he's a person who's in and around the family of Mamelodi Sundowns. He said this team could have qualified to the knockout stages, but it's not a team that's going to give Mamelodi Sundowns any problems or troubles. And when I saw the game going and how dominant Mamelodi Sundowns I then reverted back to his words when he said, now this one we're going to win it easily. And it happened. He then said to me, which is something that I've noticed and picked up in the competition. The competition, it's nice to play. It's not easy to play, but it gets more difficult when you reach the semi-final stages. The last 8 is no longer as difficult as it used to be previously. So now you look at the teams that could qualify for the last 4. Mamelodi Sundowns have already put their foot into the semi-final spot. Esperance and Al Ahly, anything can still happen because those are 2 teams that know the competition very well. Pyramids also drew, but they are going home into their next game. So the teams that have been dominating the Champions League,
they're going home to finish the job with 10-10. At home, they're very strong.
So The teams that have been dominant in the Champions League are teams that know how to play at home. So those teams, they make sure with when they go away, they don't lose with more than one goal, which increases their opportunity. If their second leg is at home, they want to make sure it's either they play a draw, which has goals away, so that they can come back and plan and prepare that at home we don't concede. And when they get to play at home, they make sure that they punish you. And that's what Mamelodi Sundowns has also started to do, that they dominate their home games and make sure that they score enough goals to be comfortable going away, that they are not disturbed, so that they know when they go away, they can either draw or they can either lose 2-1 or 1-0. It does not really have that much effect on them. But the semi-final, that's where the huge task and challenge is going to start for Mamelodi Sundowns, because now it would be 4 teams who are used to playing the Champions League, who enjoy being on those stages. And we know, as 10 years ago, how Coach Pitso Mosimane won it. There was a case that ended up leading them to progressing into the next stage. It wasn't as smooth as it is. And prior to that, they've been struggling when it comes to from the semifinals and the finals. It wasn't easy for them. So they have an opportunity because now they have the experience of CAF. They know what's happening, how to tackle it, how to go about it. But I'm seeing the challenges or the competitiveness level, where it's going to match when they reach the semifinals. That's where we have to now see how best they are and how ready and prepared they are for that stage.
It's when they won it, actually, they were eliminated. Then there was a player who was not registered for, then they were brought in. By that time, 10-10, I think the reason they won it, the league, they've already won the league in South Africa. So
no. That time they won the Champions League. We won the league. So they had the Champions League to focus on. That's the
who won
season
the league?
where
Vets won the
Yes, that's the season Vets won the league.
Okay, but okay. Let me just say this, 10-10. By the time they won the league was already finished in South Africa, so they
Yes.
didn't have when they were brought in back. They didn't have to worry about going up and down. They're only focusing on the Champions League only, not the PSL matches. So that's where the coach, in that was frustration. He wanted that game against OP to be postponed because he wanted that kind of luxury where he focuses only on the Champions League matches. But I don't think it's going to get it 10-10 because the World Cup is starting in June. A World Cup is starting in June, so all teams must finish their games.
Yeah, and sorry to disturb you there. The reason why he wanted those games to be postponed, I think he's got the experience as well, and he knows what it takes to win Champions League. You must only have your focus on Champions League. So that's why I'm saying I foresee them having challenges a bit. Not that they're not going to be able to overcome, but they still have the league to focus on, and they still have the Champions League that now they are going to be competing against the teams that are in and around their same level. So he has vast experience when it comes to CAF Champions League competition, the coach. That's why he wants that much luxury and freedom, because it will give him enough time to prepare, enough time to travel. But he's not getting that here in South Africa. It's just unfortunate. But I'm hoping that they progress in the Champions League, so that it raises the opportunities for South African players and coaches. Because once they do good in Champions League, the eyes come back in the country and saying, how many more players can we export from South Africa? When Mamelodi Sundowns, Orlando Pirates do good in CAF, it opens up the doors for the players and the coaches to go and be exposed to different challenges and more money. We can't take that away.
Not indeed, and more money in the Champions League. Obviously, I think to win it, you get something like $4 million US. That is a lot of money. $4 million US. I think it's close to 70 million around there also. Obviously, if Sundowns goes to the final and win it, that is the money they will get. And then it will justify why they will buy a player like Brian Leon for around that kind of money. Also, it looks like Sundowns are very aggressive in the market, 10-10. If you look at their strikers, they've got Motiba, they've got Reyners, they've got Siwelele, they've got Leon. It looks like they are very aggressive. They've got a squad that will win the Champions League, if you can check. And also, one thing that you have rightfully said, and you're correct, This coach is highly experienced in the Champions League. In the last two Champions League, he has reached in the final. He lost against when Esperance, he knocked out Sundowns and lost in the final. Then with Sundowns, again, he beat Esperance and lost to Pyramids in the final. Realistically, if you look at those teams you mentioned, that even now in the Champions League, you've got Pyramids, who won the current champions, who are still there. Then you've got the Far Rabat from Morocco, who are still in the Champions League. Then you've got Ali Ali, the record winners of the who are still there. And Esperance, the team that have won it also in the last few years. At one point in time, they've been winning it. Then you've got also Al Hilal, the team that beat Sundowns, who are still in the Champions League. What's your take on that? You've got those kind of teams in the Champions League. Realistically, obviously, State Milan, we don't count them. They're out of the Champions League now. What is your take? How far do you think can realistically this coach win it? Obviously, me, I don't think they will win it. I think in the semi-final, if they meet Pyramids, I think this Pyramids Team Tonten has got players, and even if they meet Esperance, from what I saw yesterday, they are fighters. I saw they turn Ali, they frustrated them. But anyways, football is football. We never know.
Yeah, it's also my opinion. I don't see Mamelodi Sundowns winning the Champions League this year, but I have faith and hope that they can turn the table around and win it and be the first team to put on the second star in South Africa. Because like you have mentioned, Pyramids are very strong. Al Ahly, they are very strong. Esperance also is very strong. Al Hilal is also strong. But if they can get Al Hilal in the semi-finals, they have an opportunity because Al Hilal is not that strong. It's not that much of a stress for Mamelodi Sundowns. But if they are to meet the current Al Ahly or current Esperance, I don't see it being easy for them to progress to the final, or Pyramids, because those teams also, they bolstered their teams, and they want to make sure, because I think what enhanced the competition and the level of players that these teams have signed, they all want to go to the Club World Cup that's coming next. They've had the feeling of it, of saying experience, the exposure, the money that these teams get from there. They want it also. I think that's why also Mamelodi Sundowns went on for Lyon to say, we've lost Ribeiro, we must go try and find somebody who's going to help us in scoring those goals. And because as it is, Mamelodi Sundowns are not guaranteed a spot into the Club World Cup, and they want that experience again. But Al Ahly also, they are not guaranteed that spot as yet. They are fighting for that spot. Esperance were not part of that trip, part of that journey. They also want that experience to say, we have to go out there now and be recognized in the world.
No, good luck to Mamelodi Sundowns. Wish you well in the Champions League. Obviously, it will be nicer to see them getting a star. For me, I've always been saying I want to see South African team winning the Champions League, because those teams from North Africa, we saw them during the AFCON that they don't really love us as Southern African or black people. I honestly will be happy to see Sundowns winning the Champions League. Obviously, I've been saying I want Pirates to win the league, because if Pirates win the league, it will make the league not predictable like the German league, where without thinking that Bayern Munich is going to win it. And the minute you see Chiefs doing well and Orlando Pirates do, at one point in time, 10-10, Orlando Amstel Arena was always full, because Pirates fans will say Pirates will be sold out playing at Orlando even when they play Marquez, because it looks possible that Pirates can win the league. But now, since the fans can see that, we lost to Castric Stars, a team from the NFD, we're not winning the league. We're not going to the stadium, because now Pirates fans, the attendance is no longer as much as it was there. As we wrap, coach, I'm saying, coach, 10-10. Who's going to be relegated? Opit College or Makesi or Marumo Galadzi? What's your take on that? Obviously, Makesi doesn't look good for them. In 20 matches, they've only have 4 points, and they've not won in the last 5 matches. They brought in, obviously, Alan Freeze, and then Opit College, they just got promoted. They lost Saleng. Obviously, they brought in Mpatlele, Ralani, Kabinga, Liseti Kabinga. They beat TS Galaxy in Bombela. Official was one of those people who was shocked. Can they go to Bombela and beat TS Galaxy? But ever since, obviously, they lost their last match against Mamelodi Sundowns. Obviously, you expect them to lose to Mamelodi Sundowns. And then Marumo Gallants again, they're playing Sundowns tomorrow. They're also not safe from relegation. Chippa United looks like your former team. That's an interesting one. It looks like Vusumuzi Vlagazi came with something there. Won 3 matches in the row. Sure, he has not won in the last 3 matches. I'm the one who said Chippa might be relegated. But I mean, Vusumuzi Vlagazi got something right. But again, it doesn't look convincing for them. 10-10. In 21 matches, they've only won 4 matches. In actual fact, Orbit College have won more matches than Chippa United. And then Richards Bay, I'm not sure if I should bring them in and say they are also part of the relegation zone. I don't know, but I think realistically, from number 13 to 16, they can be relegated. What's your take on relegation zone?
Yeah, South African footballers tend to be something else, Nadim, when it comes to this relegation battle. Previous seasons, not mentioning the last season, at this time of the season, you had already concluded or known this is the team that's going to be relegated. But now things have turned around, looking at Amakhosi being at the bottom, Orbit College, same number of points with Marumo Gallants. And like you mentioned about Richards Peguti, they are not far off, and Chipa as well. When Coach Vosi came to Chipa, when he joined Chipa, there's something that he said. He said, Chipa will not be relegated this season. And he found Chipa at position 16. And as much as Obit have won more games than Chipa United, they are still below Chipa. So it shows you the experience. It does count in PSL, whether we're going to run away from it or in. Obit, they did well with bringing so many experienced players after they had wanted to focus on keeping all the players that they got promoted with. Of which for me now, I like the teams that are doing that, but they have to be realistic in saying Ajax did that and they could not survive. Whether we like it or not, experience does play a huge factor. And that's why I think Orbit managed to win against ETS Galaxy at Mbombela, because they now have seasoned campaigners, people who understands and know the stages of the league, with the introduction Abo Ben Mutswari, Abo Lesedi Kaping, Abo Ralani. Those players, they don't only contribute in playing, but they can also help and contribute in motivating the inexperienced players and saying, this is the type of the stage where in the PSL you have to do this, do that. This is how you win games at this, all of those factors, they do matter. That's why I think Chipa United also reverted back to going to Orlando Pirates and knocking. And they knew the players that they are going to request, not just going and taking any other players who are still inexperienced in the league, because they wanted the help and they had to go and say, can you please give us Unto back, Ukwaiba? He's a seasoned campaigner. He's been with Chipa. He knows the surroundings with Chipa, and he's helped them a lot in coming out from number 16 to being where they are now. For me, Nadim, I say it's difficult for me to say this team is going to be relegated at this stage. I think the last 5 games are going to determine, But as I'm seeing it, I'm seeing either Amakhosi, Bit, and Marumo Gallants fighting for that number 16 and number 15 spot.
No, it's going to be difficult. Orbit, for me, I think they're not safe. I agree with you entirely on the experience. I think this team owners, they must hire us 10-10 to be sporting directors to sign them experienced players. I don't understand how you can be promoted and then you're coming with the PSL players who lack experience and think you'll survive in the PSL. I don't understand why you will sell your best players and think you'll survive in the PSL. Getting experienced players is always gonna safeguard you, your status in the league. I've seen that many times. We are not gonna shortchange that. Now, since they bring Ramasham Patele, Ralane, it look like they've got a direction. So it's gonna be very interesting. In the Premier League, Arsenal is number 1 as we wrap up with the international. What's your take? Will my former team, because I grew up supporting Arsenal, but after when they were struggling to win the league, then I stopped. I withdrew my support of supporting Arsenal. But since they are winning now, I'm looking at them with one eye. Obviously, they are leading the Champions League and the league. They're leading the good thing about Arsenal, they're leading the Premier League with 9 points. And then with how many games? 7 games to go. Do you think they will win the Champions League? The league, starting with the league in England.
Yeah, I'm not an Arsenal fan, and I wasn't hoping to see Arsenal
What team do you support in England?
Liverpool. In England, I support Liverpool, and they are struggling this season.
Yeah, I don't even think you'll make the top four.
No, it's possible. They can still make the top four, but we'll see. With Arsenal, they can disappoint you at the last end, because I thought Man City had it in them, because I knew Arsenal was going to drop points. But after Man City dropped points, I did not see any other team disturbing Arsenal in winning the league. I'm hoping they don't, but they are at a stage where they are confident to say it's within reach now. So there is 80% chance for Arsenal to win the league this season. As I had predicted them not winning the league, yeah, I see them disappointing me and lifting that trophy after so many years.
Yeah, it looks like Man City is going to run out of games, because if you check, they played 31 matches and won 21, 7, lost 3, 70 points. So they are 9 points ahead of Man City. Obviously, Man City have a game in hand. Game in hand is not guaranteed point. I think it might happen 10-10, because if they win the next 5 matches, Man City, and also continue drawing, it might be decided. And then in the Champions League, what's your take on it? Hey, the Champions League is very tough, because you still have Bayern Munich, you still have Real Madrid. Real Madrid, obviously, I think they beat Man City 3-0. I think they've already eliminated Man City out of the Champions League. I don't think Man City can go home and score 4 goals and 4 goals. Actually, they need 4 goals, and Real Madrid don't even score. I think I don't know. What's your take about the Champions League? Who's gonna win it?
It's a difficult one, Nadim. It's a very difficult one. I mean, you can look at the teams that you've mentioned and look at their results. Look at how convincing Bayern Munich won. They are going into the second leg with so much confidence into that game. Look at how Real Madrid won, but 3-0 in Champions League, it's not over yet for me. It's definitely still reachable. If Real Madrid are going to lose their head, Man City can come back and score 4. We've saw Liverpool scoring 4 goals in the second half previously. We've saw Real Madrid coming back from a deficit that they were facing against Man City when Rodrigo performed wonders with Benzema. So 3 goals, 3 goals is not that satisfying. Real Madrid need to score 1 and at least dominate the game but you look at the teams that are still there. It's Arsenal is still there,
like
but
PSG
for me,
is still there, Barcelona is there.
Yeah, Barcelona is still there, PSG. It's going to be a very nice, interesting Champions League for me. So I'm hoping, because Liverpool, as much as they are there, they are trailing against Galatasaray. Galatasaray has been the surprise performers for me. But what I don't like about them is that they're only performing when they are playing at home, or when they are playing against Liverpool, maybe, but I don't see Galatasaray troubling or competing to win the Champions League. For me now, my money, I would say for now, because I can't mention one, we still have Bayern Munich, who are convincing to win the Champions League. We have Real Madrid, who are convincing to win Champions League. We have PSG, who are convincing to win Champions League. So I am putting my money
even
on
Barcelona. One will say Barcelona.
Yeah, even Barcelona, man, not to forget them. So I'm putting my money in all the 4 teams that I've mentioned: Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, PSG, and Barcelona.
Yeah, but you have to pick one. You can't pick 4 teams. In your opinion, one team that you think
out of the 4 teams, I love Real Madrid and Bayern. I'll give it to Real Madrid, because they have the experience when it comes to Champions League. You even heard Thierry Henry was saying he doesn't know what they put in the Real Madrid's shirt for Champions League, because how they performing.
Yeah, this shirt is power. That's why when I do the podcast, I wear it. This shirt is very powerful.
I love Real Madrid so much, man. So I would say I'll put my money on Real Madrid, because I can only choose one. If I were to choose 2, I would say Bayern or Real Madrid, but I'll go with Real Madrid on this one.
The advantage with Real Madrid 10-10 as we rep is that Jude Bellingham is recovered from an injury. Kylian Mbappe is recovering from an injury. Remember, they beat him, and they're going to be part of Man City when they play Man City tomorrow. The key thing is that Madrid beat Man City without 9 key players. It's very strange. They even had a player from the development who has never played for Real Madrid, but they beat Real Madrid 3-0. Now
And
they're going there with Kylian Mbappe. Yeah, and they are going to City of Manchester with Kylian Mbappe and Jude Bellingham. I don't see Man City winning 4-0 there. Maybe they can win 2-1, 3-1 and be knocked out, but they can win, yes, 100%. But winning with 4-0, when Kylian Mbappe is there and Jude Bellingham, one will say that team is better than the team Madrid faced in the first leg. It's going to be an interesting one, that one.
Definitely. And the reason why I also don't see Man City coming back is that they haven't been defending well. And when you are not defending well, playing against Vinicius Jr., Bellingham, Mbappe, you are prone to conceding goals. And they did not concede even one. You know, they had an opportunity when that young boy nearly made a mistake. But Courtois, it's the experience. He was at the right place at the right time to save that one out. So it's definitely, for me, Real Madrid are going through to the next round. And then Pep Guardiola has to go back to the drawing board and make sure if he still remain a Man City coach, I think he knows what he's going to do next. But for this one around, it looks like he's losing the league and he's losing the Champions League. But with Arsenal being able to disappoint and they are still in the Champions League, he has an opportunity to try and focus on the league side and forget about the Champions League. Anything can happen there in
Also, I
England.
forgot Arsenal 10-10. They can still win the Champions League also.
No chance. I'm confidently saying no chance. Yeah, there's hope now with them winning the league, but Champions League, with the teams that have counted, that are still there, I don't see them anywhere closer than winning the league.
Yeah, guys, that's it. That's our rep with 10-10. As we're about to rep to cover the World Cup that is coming in 2 months' time. 2 months' time is coming. Guys, we're looking for a sponsor. If you can assist us with sponsoring the show, obviously, you can DM us on TikTok. You can send us a message. We are available, and even on X, NXL360. Thank you so much, 10-10, and good to have you back. Your final words as we're wrapping the show.
No, thanks for having me back, Nadim. It feels good to be back. It's been a while, man, And all that you have been said, I echo that. If anyone knows the right people that can sponsor the show, they must send the messages. I think you are open to listening to any sponsorship. And we're going to the World Cup now. It will motivate us. It will give us the edge and boost to keep giving the experience and the knowledge that we have on the sports that we have. We appreciate the critics. They make us become better, see things in a different eye. They must continue supporting the NXL 360 show. And, it's all good, man. Football unites us, like Nelson Mandela has said before. So let's keep the struggle going and make sure that we support our teams and the players genuinely. They might make mistakes here and there, but let's rally behind them. Let's not make them lose confidence because players go through a lot, Nadim, and no one is taking care of that side of life. So let's rally and support wholeheartedly. I know people support and love and they spend their money, but no one goes there to make those mistakes deliberately.
Hey, yeah, no, those are profile words, 10-10. When you're thinking about that, I'm thinking of Discovery and the Old Mutual. Maybe they can come and sponsor us because they deal with mental support and wellness and also assisting players with all the pitch things. Honestly speaking, players need to be well taken care of. I think the booing of players, obviously, fans get frustrated, but don't make it a habit because that is a human being like you and me who wants to win at the end of the day. So yeah, it's been an interesting show, 10-10. And thank you so much. We'll catch up on the next show. Guys, continue subscribing. We're trying to reach 5,000 subscribers before this month. Guys, please, because obviously we've got a lot of people watching the show, please just do us that favor for now, subscribing. We're only asking you to subscribe now. Once you subscribe, then we're going to ask you more favor to get us a sponsor. Thank you so much, 10-10, and good night, everyone.
Danko.